Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to today's School Spotlight live stream webinar. My name is Mackenzie Zach, and I'm excited to be back with you guys today. I'm just going to give a few seconds for any of our live viewers to jump on. If you are watching this live, please note that we will be recording this session. So if you have to jump out for any reason, you'll be able to come back and watch the recording on either our Facebook page or our YouTube channel or directly on applywave. If you are watching live, if you have any questions for our special guest today, feel free to submit those questions in the comment section. And at the end of the webinar, we will be happy to answer as many of those as possible. So I'm excited to announce that today we are meeting with Pace University in New York. And you guys, I've personally visited this campus. It's super, super cool. And it's in New York City, which is amazing. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Rob and Daniel from Pace University, and then also Bianca, who is a current international student at Pace. So guys, thank you so much for being with me today. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
We're excited.
Very
Thanks.
cool. So Bianca, I want to start with you.
Right.
Since you're a current international student, this is so amazing. First of all, where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
Okay, and what are you studying at Pace?
So at Pace, I was taking English classes, which was my first goal when I decided to participate in an exchange program. I was like, okay, I need to improve my English. So what is going to be the next step? So I was looking for great college and universities to apply for, and I found Pace. So here I am.
Oh, that's awesome. And how long have you been studying English at Pace? Because your English is really good.
I'm studying since last year, actually. And then it's a long path, like reading a lot, practicing, and the teachers supporting us. It's a long journey.
That's great, though. I mean, that's one of those journeys that's totally worth it.
Yeah.
I studied Spanish when I was in college, and so I went through like a Spanish language program and everything. So I know how that feels. It can be intimidating. It's not always easy.
No,
But once you can communicate with somebody in a language that's not your own, it's like, oh my gosh, okay, I did it. It makes me feel so powerful.
Exactly. And the base, it's really important when at the beginning you have a great support, because it's really difficult to move to a different country and to interact with people in a different language.
Exactly. And it's, not only the language, it's also learning the culture and that kind of thing, making friends, like using slang words and things like that. So a lot goes into mastering a language. And I'm sure you agree that it's so much easier to learn a language when you're in the environment than if you're just studying, an English course in your home country, for example.
Exactly. That's why I decided to come here, because it's much easier. You have the daily routine contact, which is much better. So you can get your English improved faster than stay in your home country.
Now, tell me this. Why did you choose Pace?
Well, I was looking for dynamic courses. And when I started looking at universities, Pace had all of the requirements that I was looking for. So I'm pretty happy about that, because in your classes, for example, now due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you guys know that it's pretty difficult to keep the pace of the class and everything. And at Pace, I found the thing that I was looking for, because we have a dynamic class. We can have, in my class, for example, I had the opportunity to talk with all of the students during the breakout rooms. So I have met people from Brazil, which is my home country, from India, from Mexico, and it was a great experience. And I was looking for it.
Awesome. So you felt like you made friends.
Exactly.
Right from the beginning. That's good.
By the way, I'm still in touch with some students.
Awesome. Now, tell me a little bit more just about like your personal opinion coming from Brazil and then being in New York. How has that transition been for you? Like with weather, food, all of that?
Well, at the beginning was
We are in winter, so you can be transparent.
yeah, the weather was the most difficult part, to be honest,
Yeah.
because I'm from a tropical country and now it's really cold, and the impact was really shocking at the beginning, but I can't complain because I have had great opportunities and I have been experiencing different cultures, which is great. I have been overcoming my challenges, because it's really difficult when you just decided to move and you um, find different challenges about the language and food and making friends. And I am really grateful because I have been going through and I am enjoying a lot the opportunity.
That's awesome. And one of the benefits too, I mean, even though adjusting to colder temperatures is hard, at least you get to have like a whole new wardrobe. You get to wear cute coats and boots and that kind of
Exactly. Bikini,
yeah, exactly. What kind
fireplace.
exactly. So what kind of things just on a regular weekend? I know right now because of the pandemic,
Well, yeah, it's
it's
really
hard to
different.
go out and do a lot of activities, but normally what do you like to do in your free time? Just, being in New York, what kind of activities do you do?
Well, the city provides us entire range of activities to do. So normally, since I once I arrived here next year, actually, I was going to the Manhattan to enjoy some kind of the activities that we can explore a lot, like museums, and we have a lot of tourist spots to visit and to explore. So makes New York City reminds me a little bit of São Paulo because you have a lot of variety of things to do and makes you occupied during the weekend. And I'm really an outdoor person, so I would easily go to the Central Park and go
Mhm.
for a run, for example, or spend
Yeah.
the entire day exploring a museum. So it's
Uh,
a lot of things to do. Not now,
exactly.
unfortunately, but hopefully
Yeah.
soon.
But still, I mean, New York City is New York City. There's so much
Exactly.
to do in New York.
So much to do.
You can't be bored.
No,
Now,
you can't.
Daniel and Rob, I want to ask you guys because Pace has two different campuses, right? Can you tell me about those campuses?
Yeah, absolutely, Daniel. I just threw myself out there, but
Go for it, Rob.
so yes, I mean we do offer students the opportunities to have either the urban experience, which would be New York City downtown, and also the suburban experience, which would be in Pleasantville, New York, which is only really a 40-minute train ride. So for some students that may be a bit more apprehensive of being in the city per se, or come from a bit more conservative background, they do have the ability to be at a suburban campus, which is more the traditional open greenery and space, but not be too far away from the city where they cannot get in within 40-minute train ride.
And that's awesome, especially for those students. Like you said, it may be a little bit intimidating to go right into a big city. So that's cool that you have the option. Now, can students change campus or do they have to just stay at one or the other?
They can change campuses once you're accepted to PACE, as long as there are programs on both campuses. Because sometimes we have a program, and Rob can send a whole list of interested students that are specific to each campus. That's not too many. But when you're accepted to PACE, you're accepted to both places. And for the English program, for example, we often do have students who may start in Westchester and then do a semester there and then do a semester in New York City, or kind of the other way around, just to experience both places.
And that's a good opportunity. I mean, really, the best of both worlds. You can try both out, see what you like better. You can start in the city just to have the excitement of being in the city, and if it's not your thing, then you can switch to the other campus as long as your program's there. So I think that's really nice. That's really flexible. What about you, Bianca? What campus are you studying at?
Actually, I'm studying Westchester campuses right now because of the pandemic, so there's no reason to go to the city.
Yeah,
But once you are able to have in-person classes, I would love to go to the New York City campuses only because of the experience. I'm sure it's
right.
going to be incredible.
That's awesome. I love that flexibility.
Yeah,
Now,
me too.
Before we move into kind of some of the academics and talking more in detail about what PACE has to offer international students when it comes to studies, I want to know what kind of the extracurricular activities are. Can students participate in sports, art, clubs? Daniel, maybe you can tell me a little bit about those extracurriculars.
Yeah, so there's over 100 different student clubs and organizations, pretty much on both of the campuses. And Greek life, there's just always something happening at the PACE campus. And in New York City in particular, it's so easy just to walk outside of the building and then have New York City to entertain you. But there's, intramural sports. So maybe you're not going to be one of the professional football players for our team, but there's still like the student sport teams where they get together in the gym or the fitness centers. All of our sports teams are based out in Westchester because that's just where we have the space. So all of our NCAA teams are there, and there's a huge fitness center with Olympic-sized swimming pool that students can access. And I see ice cream parties. I see fashion shows happening on campus. There's movie nights. There's game nights. I mean, there is just so much happening all the time, and it's nice because we also are a residential campus, so we have residence halls. So there are events happening, in the evenings, on the weekends. It's just there's always something happening that the students can all join. Rob, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback on the clubs as well, there's also the opportunities for students to join specific clubs, whether they're interested in finance or whether they're interested in some type of computer science club or even something specific within international. So we have a very large international students club. Lots of props to them. I mean, they do a lot of things for the international students. So, and then also the ability to even create a club. I mean, many of our students work well with our student development in terms of initiating new clubs. Obviously, there are certain protocols, but students also have the opportunity, if there's a demand for it, to even bring something like that to the table.
Mm-hmm. That's really great. I think that, when schools do give the opportunity for students to take on sort of a leadership role, and if they have an interest in something, they can go out and create that club and, get the ball rolling. And I always tell students, if you have an opportunity like that and you're kind of a natural leader, go for it. Just put yourself out there, get in touch with the people you're supposed to get in touch with to make it happen. Because at the end of the day, that's something that's going to look great on your resume when you're applying to jobs. And it, like I said, it shows leadership. And just, touching on the student experience that you guys have explained to me, the variety of activities from, traditional like university athletics to fashion shows and game nights and clubs. That just shows the diversity of PACE University, not just of the US, not just of the student population, but the experience that students can have. That's something I really want to stress. If you want to have that, busy city experience where you're running to class and you're in the action, great, you can have that. But if you also want to have like a traditional university campus experience, you can have that as well. As far as the living experience, the student residence you guys mentioned, do you have student residences downtown as well, or is it only in your suburban campuses?
So students do have the opportunity. There's 4 housing opportunities down in the city and then 5 in Westchester. And one of the largest ones is actually one of the largest residential buildings, which is 33 Beekman, which is a very nice location. Those are usually reserved for upperclassmen, but those are almost kind of like luxury style housing where even I would love to live in one of those for a while because so students do have the opportunity. They're not obligated. I always like to stress that some schools do require students to live on campus, let's say their first year. The university does not require that, but more times than not
benefit.
but usually 75% of our first year students do decide to live on campus. So we do offer opportunities for both New York City and Westchester.
I think too, just to add that all the residence halls are walking distance from the classroom as well. So if they're in housing, they don't have to take the subway, they don't have to take a taxi, they can just walk over, which is really convenient. So, and it's another great opportunity to make friends and build a community as well.
Yep.
That's awesome. And that is really convenient, especially in the winter, knowing you don't have to travel too far to get to class. Very cool. So now I want to move into academics a little bit. I know, Daniel, you're with the ELI. Rob, you're with the higher ed programs. But I know even within the English language program, there are some different options students can opt for, right? So Daniel, how about first you tell me a little bit about the English options for students?
Yeah, so, we are a university-based English program. We are PACE's English program since the early 1990s. So we've been doing this for a very long time at PACE, and we are on both campuses. We have academic English preparation, so maybe students that do want to go to undergrad or grad or law school at PACE, but want to improve their English first, we can help them. We have just kind of more general English for travelers, people that want to come over for 6 weeks or a semester. Or even a year. We have up to 6 levels, so we can have long-term or short-term students. And then the summer is really busy for us. So the summer in the US, depending where you are in the world, it's a little different. But May to August for us is quite a busy time where we have a lot of people coming over just for a short term in New York City and Westchester. So
and New York City options. Is beautiful in the summer. Yeah. It's so nice.
I always feel bad that the students are stuck in class all day, well, because it's so nice outside. Yeah. But we actually have a class in the English program that's our walking tours of New York class, and it's a 4-hour class. And what they do is one day they go explore a part of New York City, like a museum, a neighborhood, and they actually interview people outside and ask them questions about something historical or important in that region. And then the other day, they're actually presenting that in the classroom to their classmates. So we do find ways to have students take advantage of New York City.
That's awesome. So students, if you're watching this and you just want to do kind of an experience type program where you're, getting some English, doing some cool things, getting some culture, you have that option. But then you also have the academic options as well. So if a student doesn't have the English requirement to go directly into a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, they can start with you, right, Daniel?
Yeah, so if you don't have a TOEFL or an IELTS score and you really just want to focus on your English preparation skills, you can start with us, and students that finish our highest level will get a waiver for the TOEFL requirement. But you still have to apply academically, so you would work with Rob, to review transcripts and high school GPA, things like that. But we could help you with the language requirement for PACE. And there's other options too for international students to start degree programs that Rob might talk about, just for different English levels as well. But we're definitely an option.
Awesome. Now, Rob, tell me a little bit about some of the academic, the top majors or the most popular majors that students tend to opt for at PACE.
Sure. So, I think more times than not, students tend to think of PACE as a business-oriented school. That was our founding back in 1906 as an accounting school, basically because of the proximity to New York, to the Wall Street sector, right? So we had to provide the personnel to these companies, so we were in accounting. But over the years, we've developed, over 100 different programs, 150 within bachelor's, accelerated programs, dual degrees, and that stems anywhere from business, computer science, health professions, arts and science, which is huge, where we have programs like performing arts and psychology, criminal justice, and so forth, and law school along with education. So we're more than just a business school. We have plenty of streams out there. And even within those streams, for many students, when they're looking for programs, whether if it's traditional arts and science or even STEM-related programs, which is a very hot topic, we have STEM programs within our computer science, business, and arts and science as well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great opportunity. And that brings me to my next question, which is about, internship opportunities for students. And I imagine, having those STEM and also business programs available, are there internship opportunities for them? Do you guys help with that at all?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the key ingredients for every student when they're researching a school in general. But one thing that PACE does very well is really from the onset, when they're starting and they meet with an advisor, everything is really leading up to career services. And at that point, career services, their mission is to help every student within every major. It's not just the students coming from business because it's easier, because right there's Wall Street, but it's helping them within all levels. And developing in terms of helping them with soft skills, how to interview, how to research companies, setting them up for interviews, assisting them, and so forth. So it's a major requirement. And the internships are not just the typical or cliche, getting coffee or making copies. It's real world experience that they're getting. So they can put that on their CV and be able to find jobs, because more times than not, companies are looking for work experience. How do you attain that work experience if you're studying in school? That's through the internship.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I always see those memes where it's like, you know, the never ending vicious cycle of like, okay, you have to have 5 years of job experience for this job. And then, okay, how do I get job experience if everybody requires experience? Okay, you get that through doing internships and things like that when you're studying. So that's super, super valuable. And then as far as, I was going to ask, here's what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to know what's going on right now in terms of COVID on campus. I know at the start of, you know, the pandemic and all that stuff in the US, New York was talked about a lot, but I know things have changed quite a bit as the months have gone on. So how is PACE dealing with the COVID-19 situation?
Dan, you want to start out, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I can jump in.
We live it every day, so.
Yeah, I can jump in. So for the English program, we've been holding a lot of our classes online. We're looking forward to jumping into an in-person model, starting with our summer programs coming up in May of this year. As far as the campus goes, you know, PACE was rated number 4 in the US by College Magazine last year for our COVID response. And I think that really has to do with, you know, we have daily app that students do to measure their symptoms, and the staff and the faculty have to do that. So before you actually come into campus, you have to go through a questionnaire, and we have random testing every week. The students living in residence halls, we have testing for them, and we help them with quarantining. I know this semester in the spring, for example, PACE had students living in a hotel close to campus until they cleared their quarantine, and they had food delivered to them, and they actually had quarantine buddies. They were able to chat with a staff member on the phone or on text just to make sure they didn't feel alone, you know, during that whole process. Yeah. Our cases have been, you know, quite low, especially when you think of being just in a busy city, let alone New York City. I think we've been very fortunate, and, you know, there's PPE everywhere. Everyone feels very safe. Student life is still happening. I see all the clubs we were talking about earlier. There's so much happening online right now. And there's stuff happening in person as well as far as activities go. But I see every day there must be 15 to 20 Instagram posts about someone's doing something on Zoom. And they're really, really creative. Like there's like competitions happening and all that type of stuff. And the students, you know, they want to be there, and the faculty and the staff want to be there. And we've limited, you know, with social distancing, how many people are around. But we've been very fortunate with our campus feeling safe. And I think the students feel very safe.
Yeah, that's amazing. Rob, did you want to add anything to that?
I mean, within everything that Daniel said, we were always prepared for many of the challenges. But the other thing I really would like to add is from the onset, from when everything started happening last March, it's almost a year now, if you could believe it. We were already progressively thinking how we're going to help out for the fall class. So we were setting up task force. We were meeting with faculty and developing already plans to offer programs online completely if we had to in a dime. And we were able to rise to that challenge. And I think a lot of that had to do because we were collectively all communicating with each other between administration, enrollment management, who was admissions and English and faculty and so forth. And thankfully, we were able to service many of our students for the fall class, and especially for the spring now, because we kind of learned from all the challenges from before. And we developed models that were either online or hybrid, which is part online and part in the classroom, or high flex, some of these new terminologies, asynchronous, synchronous, so classes in real time and classes in different time zones. So I'm very, very proud to say that PACE really rose to the occasion over the last year to now. So we were always able to kind of think of the student's mindset and be able to offer them all the different options to be able to study for school.
For sure. And I think that's so encouraging, especially for parents who are watching this, you know, especially for students who are looking for a bachelor's degree or a language program. Sometimes they're currently still in high school. Their parents are still very concerned because this is probably the first time their child might go abroad, you know, have their first taste of independence. So I think that adds an extra layer of security of, okay, if your son or daughter wants to study abroad, this is a place where you won't have to be as worried about everything that's going on right now with the pandemic. And I think that's really encouraging. And hopefully soon everything will open up and we'll safely be able to get back to normal. Now to wrap up, I just wanted to ask if you guys have any final thoughts. Bianca, you especially, is there anything you would like to share with any international students who may be considering studying in the US or specifically at Pace?
Yeah, sure. I would like to say that if you guys are thinking about having an experience abroad, you should do that because it's a great opportunity to experience different things and good things. And when you have a university that supports you, you can go further and you can be successful and be satisfied as I am because Pace gave me all the support, and even during this difficult time that is a pandemic, I have been taking classes and I am participating great discussions with my classmates and having and creating a great network. So guys, you should do that.
Amazing. Yes, if Bianca can do it in the middle of a pandemic, anyone can do it. That's awesome. It's so inspiring to hear your story, especially right now, with the world being in the state that it is, the fact that you've been able to continue on with your dream. I think that's so inspiring. So thank you so much, Bianca, for being with us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting.
Awesome. Rob, Daniel, do either of you guys have any final thoughts you'd like to leave our students with?
Yeah, I think I just want to say, I know like this week, all last year, I talked to so many students and families that were making these decisions about, do I go, do I stay, do I start online, do I go in person? And, I've been telling them, if now is the moment that you're ready to start taking classes, do it. It's fine. Your programs are student-centered. The teachers are ready. Everybody wants to make sure they're being successful. And things may not look like how they did a year and a half, 2 years ago, but that doesn't mean that you're going to have a bad experience. And especially if you're looking to start like a bachelor's program or a master's program, something that's going to be a long-term option, whatever option you have, whether it's online or in person, like go with it. And the same for English training. If this is part of your goal for your own professional development, your own success, getting into a university, places like Pace are ready to support you in a lot of different ways. So they shouldn't be nervous about it.
Yeah, and students watching, the only person who can achieve your goals is you. You're the one who has to make the decision, go out and make it happen. And part of that is knowing what your options are. And I think Pace is a wonderful option to consider. Rob, anything you'd like to add?
I mean, for our university, for Pace, we've been recruiting and working with students for over 60 years. Our first international student came like in 1961. So we really understand the challenges and the needs and the wants of every international student. I mean, we have 2,000 international students from over 100 different countries. That's about 15% of our student population, which is usually double of other universities. So we really know how to work with international students between language, between higher ed, between all the services. So I think students should feel comfortable to know that Pace is a strong consideration for them and for their academic needs.
Yeah, and the proof of that is, again, in your COVID response alone. The fact that you guys, not only do you know how to handle domestic students, but you've been handling international students for so long. You know what they need, the struggles, and it just shows with how you've been able to adapt to the current situation. So again, I think this is a wonderful option for any student to consider. And with the diversity of programs as well that they can choose from English to a master's degree, you can do it all at Pace. So now what I want to do before we wrap up, I'm going to share my screen really quick. So students who are watching, if you would like to learn more about Pace University, or if you'd like to start your application, you can do so through applywave. So first, I'm just going to share my screen real quick. All right, guys. So this is the homepage of applywave.com. Here in the top right corner, you can either create an account or log in if you're already one of our students. It's free to create an account, so no stress there. If you're looking for more information about Pace University's programs, you'll be able to find them in these last 3 sections. So either bachelor's degree, master's degree, or languages, depending on what it is you're looking for. I'm going to show the bachelor's degree section. So here where it says, where do you want to study? You can simply type in, I can't talk. You can simply type in Pace University, select the campus that you're interested in, click search. Here you'll see the pre-profile, and once you have an account, you'll be able to see available scholarships and that sort of thing. But if you click on the profile name, you'll be able to see more information about PACE, such as admissions requirements, scholarship requirements, all of the available programs. So you can see there are a lot of options. You can see exactly where they are on the map. I mean, you hear in real estate, they say location, location, location. Same goes with study options, I think. So this is a pretty amazing location. And then you're able to see, the gallery to get a better feel of what the different campuses are like at Pace University. If you are ready to move forward and you'd like to start your application, you can simply click apply, and we'll be here to assist in every step of the process. So for everyone watching this, now you know who's behind the screen when you inquire, when you start an application with Pace. It's all of us, and it's Bianca sharing her. So, you don't have to be afraid, and we're excited to help you achieve your dreams. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Bianca, best of luck with the rest of your studies. And
thank you so much.
Hopefully you'll be able to enjoy the summer in New York City without too many restrictions.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.